In this episode, we have a special guest who actually is nominated for one of the best burritos in the country. All right, welcome back to the Grand App Show. We have a very, very special guest on the show today, and we got a couple offers. So if you guys watch through this, we'll be dropping a few offers. So if you don't know this guy's face, this is Jeff Lobdell with Restaurant Partners, the president.
Yep.
Has over 800 employees, 20 locations, or 20 brands.
10 brands and 20 locations. Yep.
10 brands, 20 locations. And you just recently won or were nominated for one of the best burritos in the entire country.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Food and Wine magazine back in April they picked the best burrito in every state, and they picked Beltline Bar from Michigan. We're really honored, and lo and behold, a week ago today, they came out with another thing. They had the top 17 burritos across the country. So, there might have been some great burritos in California or New York that maybe didn't win their states, but they had the top 17 and we came number 5.
Oh wow!
So we were really honored to get that as well.
That's a huge. What's out of your career, what's one of the biggest wins that you've had like that? It's been the most.
Well, coolest. They're always nice accolades when you have. I always say that awards and nominations, stuff like that are nice, but you can't really take them to the bank. You need people to come to the restaurants in order to make sure your staff are well taken care of and you can pay your staff well, and those are the best wins. But yeah, the Beltline Bar has been around since 1953, so for 65 years it's been around. I've been the owner for 17 years. Very proud of the restaurant.
Yeah.
It's a Tex-Mex restaurant, so maybe when it first came to town it was Mexican, but it's really Tex-Mex.
Yeah.
We would get, pushed around a little bit with the social media bullies about, well, you're not authentic Mexican.
Oh, really?
No, you're right. I guess we're Tex-Mex, but we came up with a marketing campaign that we're authentic Beltline because we are very fresh, and we were local before the whole local movement.
Yeah.
For over 50 years, we've been getting our beef ground fresh from Tolman's butcher shop here in Grand Rapids. It comes in fresh multiple times a week. I hand blend all of our own spices. I go down there every week and mix up 500 pounds of spice every week, which is kind of fun. I upheld the traditions of the previous owner to do that.
Okay. Was that part of the agreement?
Yeah, he gave me a secret recipe,
really?
and here's how you do it. And I just enjoyed doing it. Once a week I go down and do that. We are one of the very few restaurants that gets in 40-pound blocks of aged Colby cheese.
Oh, wow.
We take that and we shred it daily, so we're getting fresh grated cheese. Now, a lot of restaurants out there can save money in labor if you get the pre-shredded cheese.
Right.
But we shred it ourselves, and that's, I think, probably our secret recipe.
For a little secret of
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're really proud of the restaurant. We get our beans from Abergast Farms, a local farm where we get our pinto beans for refried beans, and they come in fresh, and we make everything from scratch, so we're really proud of it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I wanted to talk about how we met.
Yeah.
I have a funny story. I told him before the show, but it was pretty funny. So this was probably I started 2011.
Yeah.
I think it was right around 2009, maybe 13. It was 5+ years ago. So he's the president of this massive company, right? 800 employees. It's pretty well.
I consider myself a small business person. It's like
all perspective.
10 small businesses, but
that's true.
Yeah.
I looked at you and I was like, I was really nervous to have this meeting. By the way, I was talking to Kevin, came in to meet the president of the company, and I was like, all right, like we have to be on our A game. It was me and John. I was like, we have to be super professional, really impress him. We wanted to sell you an app for one of your loyalty programs, and we come in, he sits down, we're just, it's like you're new in business, right? You're sitting there super rigid. And I didn't know this at the time, all the different brands that you had under Restaurant Partners. And we come in and we get coffee because you get coffee to get fired up before a meeting, right? You have to get super caffeinated to go sell or do a show or whatever. So John and myself stop at Big B. And Big B is not one of the parts of his conglomerates, right? We went to Big B, sit there, have our cups, and first thing he says, he kind of looks. He goes, "Oh, you guys got some coffee, but you guys are drinking Big B." And we're kind of like, "Yeah, I mean, this is good." He goes, "You guys know I own Bagel Beanery, right?" And we kind of looked at each other like, "No, did we just drop the ball?" And we were like crushed at first. He started laughing. It was good, but that was the first time that I met him.
And I had to give you a hard time.
Absolutely,
because a friend of mine founded Big B, and I go to Big B when I'm not near Bagel Beanery.
Yeah,
so I love to support local places.
Yeah.
Certainly mine first, but other local restaurants. I got a lot of friends in the industry, but I had to give you a hard time.
I know.
It's a funny story.
I absolutely love that. What so out of this group, what's the oldest restaurant that you guys have owned? Is it
Bagel Beanery was my first restaurant. I started it in 1996, so 22 years ago.
Yeah.
At the corner of Michigan and College. It was.
Your first day?
Yep, my first restaurant there, and it was the first bagel bakery and coffee shop to have a drive-through in Michigan.
That's a hard drive-through to get through sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, it's challenging.
A little tricky.
Yeah.
I'm curious about the crazy story, maybe.
There's a little bit of paint on the wall next to us, but it might have been the first drive-through coffee place in Michigan in 1996. So that I'm not sure about. I wouldn't be surprised if we were, but I know it's the first bagel bakery and coffee shop with a drive-through, and now all the coffee shops have drive-thrus on, or as many that can do. So that was my first restaurant. A lot of my growth has happened through turnkey acquisitions of successful restaurants where the owner might be retiring or burn out on the industry or something like that.
Is it just like when you find those deals, it just kind of time like your network, just over time, who you know, who you're seeing, and it's all happens randomly, or do you have a process to kind of vet that or go seek?
Like my wife Audrey says, I must have my name on some restroom stall of retiring restaurateurs.
Okay.
Because they've called me a lot about the opportunities, and all jokes aside, I'm fortunate. I've got a great company, a lot of heritage brands that have been around a while that I'm proud of. Typically, someone who's retiring has approached me, and we work something out. It's been fair to them, fair to me, and fair to their employees. I've been thinking about slowing down a little bit in the growth and concentrating on the brands we have, but there's, if there's a good opportunity, I'll still look at it. I'd rather take on a successful heritage brand like Beltline Bars, Sundance Grill, Grand Coney, Rockwell Republic, something that's established.
I was really happy about the Rockwell.
Thank you. Yeah,
because I love Rockwell and I love Dave and Paul, and like that to me,
they're good friends too. Yeah,
really?
They were able with that whole transaction to go ahead and do Butcher's Union, and I'm excited for them. I love going to that restaurant as well. So.
What's their secret? I feel like they make Rockwell and it's like everybody loves it. Now they have Butcher, everybody loves it.
Yeah. Well,
are they just really that good or that lucky?
They're excellent. Both. They're excellent operators. They're well connected to the industry.
Yeah.
They know what's successful and popular, and they're good at creating brands. I'm good at taking an existing brand that's successful and keeping the same staff there and keeping the same kind of menu, and we'll go in and put in a new kitchen floor, fix the bar, or make physical changes to the place that the guests really appreciate. Because ultimately, Rockwell really wasn't, it's not mine, it really wasn't Dave and Paul's, it's the guests that go there.
Right.
It's their restaurant. So
they
kind of started it, but those guests that go there week in and week out, it's their place.
Right.
And I'm just the caretaker to keep their place up to speed with good staff and good food and good atmosphere.
Okay, so that's the philosophy. I can see it already. Because when anything sells, or like a business or a restaurant, it kind of changes hands. I know there's a lot of fear for what are they going to change, who are they going to fire, who are they going to hire, and it's a little uneasy. But I mean, through the whole Rockwell change, like I have not noticed any significant changes to make me not want to go back.
Sure. Yeah.
And I mean, our team goes there all the time. It's on the patio. If you could somehow knock that building down, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
The view, I talked to them before, and they said the view before that structure was just beautiful over the city, and then
it's still kind of this cool urban oasis. The patio on the back, Rockwell's Republic always gets a lot of attributes for having the best outdoor dining and patio in Grand Rapids. A lot of great attributes for their happy hour and their Bloody Marys. They have a Bloody Mary bar on the weekend. I was actually there yesterday.
Okay, yeah.
They do these massive Marys, so it's a cool place. And when that came on with our brands, a lot of our brands are kind of everyday brands that take care of people day in and day out, and they're a little bit more culinarily innovative.
Yeah.
Also, the expertise in craft cocktails.
Yeah.
So we were able to absorb some of that throughout our portfolio of restaurants and up our game a little bit with their help and help them with some systems and some other stuff that was good for them because they were part of a smaller group.
Right. Yeah. So I got to ask, as an entrepreneur, true entrepreneur, 7 years in the game, about going on 8. Yeah. You've been doing it for a little longer than I have. Yeah. What's something that you've learned, or like one success like trend or pattern that you've kind of like found and now you're sticking with, and maybe something you would tell me and other people either starting out or, you know, just building their careers too?
Sure. Well, a lot of people in the restaurant industry, I'll kind of keep it to my industry a little bit. Yeah. They want to come, you know, right out of school or right after their first job and open their whole new place. And, you know, I tell them to go out and get some experience, work for somebody else for 4, 5, 6 years, make some mistakes with other people's money.
Yeah.
I guess before you start your own.
Yep.
Because I speak a lot at, you know, hospitality colleges and tell them about my experience and tell them, you know, it's equally rewarding to me to bring on an existing successful heritage brand that's been around many years and keep a good thing going as opposed to creating something. I mean, I created Bagel Beanery. I'm proud of that. But a lot of these other restaurants that are part of my group were there before. And like I said a minute ago, the Beltline Bar is really not mine, even though I'm the owner. It belongs to those guests that have been coming there for many, many years. Right. There's, you know, I'll go walking through the dining room and talk to people, even my own age or a little bit older, and they're there with their grandkids and said their grandparents brought them there. Yep. So it's really a great Grand Rapids tradition.
Yeah, yeah. So get some experience, work for someone else.
Yep.
Kind of figure that out. I like what you said too about the awards, because I've been nominated for a few things, and me and my partner John haven't like went that route, because I know sometimes people like the accolades and just the publicity and the PR of it. And I'm super happy you said that, because I've always kind of had that same philosophy of like, I mean, it doesn't pay the bills,
right?
To an extent, like it's cool to have it, and the awards and the accolades, and you know, like for me, I looked at it a couple other ones, and like I look at the economic impact and like the impact that you have or us, you know, like we hire 10 people, and then I mean they're all local, and we're putting money back into local. Some people might have no employees, they win it, right? And they're getting all the publicity, but it's like, what's the economic impact, and what are you really, you know, doing? Sure. So I've kind of had that, but no, I mean, you have to win, right? It's good. That's good PR too for the marketing. You put it out there, they come in. With that, because we're an agency, what's one of the best things that you guys have done for your group for marketing that you've seen in the past?
Cross branding with 10 different brands. We do this. Buy 50, get 50 around the holidays. So when you buy $50 in gift cards, you get $50 in promotional certificates. Good at the other restaurants. So when you go to Red Geranium for breakfast, or you go to the Sundance Grill for breakfast, or Omelet Shop for breakfast, we're going to tell you, hey, when you're going out for dinner, go over to Beltline Bar, go to Pete's Tavern and Byron Center, go to Rockwell's downtown. And so cross-branding has been one of the best things with our Buy 50, Get 50. We also have 4 great rewards, the number 4 GR, the number 8 rewards. So when you go to the restaurant, you get one of those cards. You can get points when you go around to all the restaurants. So that's been one of the best things we've done from a branding and marketing standpoint.
The cross-promotion side of it?
Yeah.
Okay, very, very good. And what's what is one trend have you seen in the industry? A massive shift in the food industry, because I mean, like one thing that I can kind of look at is like a B-Dubs or big chains. I feel are kind of losing share, and people aren't going there as much. Is it more like local based? But you have, I mean, I think with this, like that would be my strategy. Have like little kind of niche restaurants, but have a lot.
Well, it's interesting times in the industry right now, particularly here in Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids is kind of a boom town. Things are going great. More people are moving to town. The restaurant scene is busy and happening, but more and more people are opening a restaurant. So now we're battling for cooks and servers and great personnel. If not more so than for guests. So that's a big challenge that we have right now. You know, the industry is constantly evolving and changing. Hotels are starting to give free breakfast to everybody, so that challenges breakfast restaurants. We're maybe 10
years. You have a new hotel going across from Sundance.
Yep,
kind of real close,
they just put one in Sundance downtown at Pearl and Ottawa. Just put the Homewood Suites in the Waters building. That's actually helped us. But And I think hotels that bring people help in general, but
Right.
but there's just little things that are kind of chipping away at restaurants' ability to. I was about to say, like 5 years ago, you might, you and your significant other might say, hey, let's, instead of going out to get all the groceries, put it together and come home and eat, it's just as cheaper and easier to go out to eat at a restaurant.
Right.
Where now we're competing with the Ships and the Blue Aprons of the world and all the things that'll just ship it right to your house.
Right.
And because of the cost of labor, the prices in the restaurants are higher in comparison to grocery stores than they ever have been. So we as operators just got to make it a great experience. We got to make sure that you had wonderful service, that you had great food, and that you're eager and anxious to come back because of all the competing factors that are out there now.
I did not think. I didn't think of that. Shipt being a direct competitor. That's interesting. I mean, that's,
and like if you go to the grocery stores, there a lot of them are putting more ready prepared foods, smaller batch sizes, buffets where you go in and load it up and take it home. The industry is changing where we need people out there that put together good apps. Restaurants that don't have good apps need to have those now. A lot more people ordering to go, pay by app. All those things are on what's important now for consumers and younger consumers. More younger consumers are ordering by app or ordering by phone. They might look at their it's easier to order on their device than to have a conversation with a server that might be awkward for them. So
what do you guys do? You guys do app ordering or
for what?
For takeout. Do you call someone? Do you order like?
No, I love the interaction.
Yeah. Interaction?
Right. Yeah.
A little different.
do a phone call on an app as well.
Yeah.
Your phone call. I mean, I talked to a couple of my friends probably like 4 or 5 years ago, and they said the same thing that you said, which is true though. They're like, no, like I hate talking to people on the phone. I'd rather just order from an app and not talk on the phone, have that interaction, which I mean is a huge trend. But even like we compete too with our services we provide with still Shipt and Uber Eats.
Yep.
Because then it just depends on where people are. They going to go to Uber Eats or are they going to download the own app? So it's and we're still fighting over people like talent. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's a booming economy.
Sure. Yeah.
We need top talent.
My 18-year-old probably would rather more order by app than be waited on. But my 15-year-old likes to be waited on. It just personalities are different. But I think more and more younger people
it's still shifting.
Are more technology driven and less human action oriented.
Yep. No, I mean that's a trend that we're seeing too with a lot of our restaurant clients that are doing that. So it's putting together solutions, where those future consumers are going to be. It's. I mean, I think that's where it's going. Social media. Have you guys had like a good track record with social media? Have you had like any big blunders? I'm just kind of curious. Like, I mean, that's very fickle. Like one thing goes out there and people are tagging. Maybe the Tex-Mex thing was that one of the things that kind of happened.
I think we've most all of our restaurants have a really good 4-star or better rating on social media. We're proud of that.
Yeah.
We work hard at that. But you got to be active in it. You got to tell your staff to tell your guests to talk about us on social media. When you get nice interaction, you have to engage with them.
Because usually people want to do the bad reviews, right?
Well,
that happens to everybody. That's like you go do it.
If there's problems or issues, you can't just like delete them and hide them and sweep them under the rug.
Right, 100%.
It's good to interact with them. Say, hey, how can we make it right?
Yep.
And try to fix those problems and issues. So I think that's important too. I kind of was trained in the hospitality and restaurant business where you went around and did table visits. How was everything? How many you had to touch every table as the owner of the restaurant or the manager. And now that's not as important because they can just contact you by the device. A lot of people don't want to be interrupted at their table. If they have something good or bad to say, they'll bring you over.
Yeah.
Our managers and our staff are cognizant of the guest needs and kind of know if they're in the middle of a business conversation, don't interrupt and interject. But at the right moment, you can ask them how it was and ask for some feedback. But we appreciate all feedback. We're always I always look at it as if someone gave you a 1-star or something that happened bad, A lot of people look at it as that they're there to get you and pin you down. I'm like, no, they're actually giving us a gift because they're telling us something that we could have done a better job with, and it's a perfect opportunity for us to turn that around and make their next experience a 5-star experience.
I've always thought about going like opposite because everybody is on social media and they're kind of digitally connected. And I was like, I almost kind of want to go dark for a little bit, but then talk to like 20 new people like outside. Just like walk up to them and talk to them. Even if I interrupt them, they'd be like, why are you talking to me? Like, what? Like, you should just send me a text, man. Like, where, you know? It might work, especially like business development and the sales side of it. Looking at, I just want to pivot real quick. And what's like one of the most challenging things that you got through until this point, building up this empire that you got now?
Oh, there's always business challenges. I mean, people don't realize that in the restaurant business, national average for every dollar that you collect that comes in the door, only 3 cents goes to the bottom line.
Yeah.
So there's very little margin for error. You've got to do very well, and it's very tight. You want to take care and pay your people the most you can, but if you're going to pay them too much, that there's not enough money to keep the doors open week in and week out, you got to be cognizant of that. You also, so I mean, there were times and challenges in my career, where had some blizzards and bad snowstorms that all aligned with a payroll tax being due, rent being due, and it's like, oh my gosh, how am I going to make payroll? Worked it out, but it can be a challenging business, but it has its rewards too. I wouldn't want to do anything else. I really enjoy what I do.
We've been trying to make a conscious effort internally with our team to kind of educate as many as we can about the actual operations of a business, because I think that a lot of people don't truly understand it until you are in it and running it. They kind of look at that top line and they look at the gross and it's like, what? Your business is doing this. You guys are killing it. It's like, what? You got tax, you got payroll tax, you have your utilities, you have your like everything adds up, and that's why you have to control the margins. And that was something that we looked at as we grew. We grew a little too fast, and we actually hired on a little too many people too fast because we wanted the idea of having 800 employees. It sounds so cool, but we moved just a little too fast, and we kind of were like, well, let's be lean as we can and still big as we can, and always have that hunger to keep growing, because we don't want to just stay, boutique or have two. We want to keep expanding, because, like you said, am I going to kind of slow it up? It's the game of it. And that's.
I think growth is healthy and great, but it's got to be calculated growth. It's got to be growth you can sustain. It's good and healthy for the organization. There's been times when we've grown a little too fast. But right now, I'm excited about our company and the locations we have and the people we have on board. I've got a few challenges out there with a couple locations that aren't performing where I'd like to be, but I've got some other locations that are just knocking it out of the park. And I've been blessed with great people. I've got a great operating partner. I've got a great vice president. I got a very excellent office manager, office team, district managers, and wonderful staff. A lot of the staff have been with these locations before I even bought them, and they're still there.
And props to you. That shows leadership ability then.
It's important to have good people.
That's very good. You guys got anything?
How important do you find that getting out of the kitchen and out of the front room is to you as like an owner?
From food till table?
Making sure that you're not behind the scenes doing the stuff that your employees should be? Or do you find yourself still interjecting yourself to make sure it's still being done the right way?
That's a great question. And my first restaurant was the Bagel Beaner at Michigan in college, and I was there, 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, and be getting ready to go to bed around 9, 10 o'clock at night, and the overnight baker was calling in sick. I'd have to go in at midnight and bake all night. So with my first restaurant, I was very hands-on, and then when I opened a second location, I was still very hands-on, and then eventually I decided to start delegating and brought on a district manager who later grew to be the vice president of our company. Andy Fochman's been with me for over 20 years now. And I think if you delegate authority, sometimes the people that you delegate the authority to surprise you, and they do a better job than you would have done. But you have to empower people and delegate that authority, and hope for the best that they do well. And that's worked well for me, because if I tried to micromanage everything, I wouldn't have grown, and or people wouldn't want to work with me and my organization if that's how we did things. It's important that we have systems, operational checklist, power levels, build twos, training systems, everything that takes to run a good organization. And, we ask that, that our staff follows those, but a lot of times they got to make calls on the spot, like, gosh, I'm not sure about this. Well, if you're not sure, throw it away because we're going with all fresh. And they know that they won't get yelled at by Jeff or someone above because they made the highest standard wins. If a soup looked like it's on the verge of being broken, well, they know we'll support them in their call to throw it away and bring in a new batch of soup.
Right.
So that's an excellent question. But yeah, I think my growth has happened by and large for having the willingness to delegate to people and empower them to make decisions.
And do you think going into that mentally, how did you prepare going into that mentally? Because we kind of the same thing. I actually did a lot of the design for the websites probably like 3 years ago. Like I did full design, and me and my partner were talking about it, saying, if we really want to grow this company to the next level, Chris, you have skills that are more than just being in here designing or making bagels. We got to scale up and hire somebody. And I just knew mentally going into it, based on what we could pay somebody, it wasn't going to be a top talent, so it was more entry level. Mm-hmm. So I just knew that the quality might suffer a little bit, and I knew that clients might not be either as happy or we might not increase sales that much. So I just kind of thought that I was like mentally going into it, like I know that quality might dip a little, but I just have to mentally prepare for that, which actually it didn't happen. Yeah, and I was actually kind of happy about it. Like, it didn't happen as bad, as bad of a transition I had, but that was something I think people when they start to scale up just mentally think about that. So when the problem does come up, they're not so emotionally attached to it, and it's not that when they get mad. It's just okay. I saw this coming. I understand that. But did you mentally prepare, think about those things, kind of? I mean, as much as you could, but not.
I did, and I can't. I'm human. I'm not perfect. There's certain things that I'm like. I might micromanage a little bit, like I want the lighting to be just right, or the atmosphere, and I'll come in and say something.
Change up,
but
dim it a little bit,
but I think in general, because I'm sure some of my people like, oh no, he tells us what to do all the time. But I think they would say that I do delegate authority, and like you said, when you gave up some of your web design and stuff like that, you're pretty surprised what a great job they did. And it's a lot of it's in business, it's relationship driven. So you have great relationships with all your clients, and as I do with my staff and guests, and as I've grown, some of our key people have grown even more relationships. They even have relationships with people who I haven't had the fortune of meeting yet, but it's helping with growth. So much like your company.
Yeah, that's awesome. Closing it up, what's one last piece of maybe segmenting away from the restaurant industry, but just as a business owner in general, right? As an entrepreneur, what's an end piece of takeaway for that segment?
As far as
number one, I would say piece of advice to give somebody starting out, because I have a lot of my age demo of what we have is primarily on social media. We're putting this on Facebook, YouTube, and I have a lot of people who are either my peer groups, a little older, been doing it, but a lot of them are just starting out, just kind of building their business as an entrepreneur. So what's one piece of advice?
And I've got teenagers now, so I tell them, and they're the oldest does not want to be in the restaurant business. He's a
business owner, maybe? Or
maybe, I don't know. He likes cars, so he wants to go and do stuff with cars. And I could try to rope him in and pull him into the hospitality industry, but he has a passion for cars, and he's going to go to Ferris State and do automotive technology engineering. I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
He graduates a week from today, and
happy early graduation. If you randomly stumble upon this,
if you're watching, I'm proud of you. But he's following his passion. Yeah. So I would tell, and maybe someday he owns his own automobile or small engine repair. Then maybe he has 20 small engine repair shops with 80 employees or something like that, or I don't know, maybe goes into engineering or design, but he's following his passion. He's passionate about cars, and so I would tell your listeners, if you want to be self-employed, do what you're passionate about. Follow what your heart tells you, and if you're passionate about it, good things will happen.
And that's actually, we'll wrap it up, but that's what Matt's doing.
Yep.
So he actually was a personal trainer.
Yep.
and he's still doing personal training, but he's kind of like cutting it down, and he saved up enough money, and he reached out to me and was like, I want to do video.
Yeah.
He went out, and actually, so these two cameras, they're actually like nice-ish cameras. We had this one, he used this one, and then he actually bought this one on his own, invested, and he's just out shooting video. He's doing so much free stuff, reaching out to people, just getting into it and learning.
That's really cool. Yeah.
And doing that. I mean, that's what he's doing. I was pretty impressed when I met him. I was like, you got it.
Good for you.
That's the strategy.
Yeah. Do what you love, and hopefully good things will follow.
That's it. Yeah. Well, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. We're going to do some kind of giveaway. So I didn't do it throughout the show, but we'll make something happen. So we'll see you guys in the next show. Thanks for watching.